It is sort of a crazy word. It's a lot of consonants.
Consonants, yeah.
Borscht. And there's a T at the
I
end.
know. Is it pronounced? Is it?
It's unclear. I mean, someone knows the answer.
Right.
Borscht.
Borscht. Also on the Upper West Side is the largest slice of pizza like in New York City called Cronettes, and it's like $1.25.
Crazy.
A
Amazing.
slice of pizza that's
Wow.
like, no, it's outrageous.
I have no problem with that, seriously.
What's your favorite flavor of bagel? Oh my God.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
Okay, guys, this is an all-new HBFIT TV episode, and we are here with Gail Simmons, who has graciously let us into her home to cook a recipe from her new book, Bringing It Home, and we're gonna make a winter borscht because I've always loved borscht. I've never made one before, and this looks absolutely delicious.
Thank you.
I mean, everything in here is outrageously good.
Thank you.
Which we've been talking about. But can you tell us, why did you choose a borscht? Why is it in the book? And like, what
is it?
Yeah, what is it?
What is a borscht? This is all good questions. Well, I started with a soups and stews chapter because I really love making soups, especially at this time of year. It's getting cold, and I find that making a soup is sort of like the best entryway to cooking. If you're not a cook, if you're afraid of cooking, learn to make soup. Because I feel like it's so easy, it's almost impossible to mess up.
I completely agree.
And I love making soup, so that at the beginning of the week, I'll make a giant vat of soup, and I'm happy to eat it all week long. And they're so restorative, they're so hearty and nutritious. Most of the soups in my book are vegetarian, if not vegan, as an option.
Oh, wow.
Because you can make so many delicious things just layering vegetables and fresh herbs and spices.
It's also so good on the digestion system.
Yes, exactly. Delicious, and I think perfect for winter. So the borscht, borscht is traditionally a beet soup or beet stew, an Eastern European recipe. Russia, Poland, that sort of area where my grandparents were from. I have memories growing up of my mom making cold borscht, like chilled borscht, pureed. I mean, it was probably very simple, beets and onions and garlic pureed, and she'd serve it with a little dollop of sour cream growing up in the summertime. But when I started thinking about that soup, I love the color of it, the vibrancy, all of those hearty vegetables that go into it, but I wanted it to be hot. So I make a hot version. I don't puree it, so it's really sort of hearty and rustic, but it's got a lot of nuance and flavor. So there's obviously beets, there's cabbage. A lot of recipes when I started researching had added sugar in them.
Interesting.
Honey or some other kind of sugar add, and I didn't want to do that. So instead I add sweet potatoes, which adds even more sort of rooty nutrition, but also a sweetness. And the beets are obviously very sweet. I add celery root, and then I love adding caraway, which is, the flavor of rye.
Right.
Because I think it adds another just great toasty flavor to the soup.
I love
and it's
that.
really easy. I mean, the whole thing takes like a half an hour start to finish.
Amazing.
And you can make it in big vats, and you can make it vegan if you want, or you can put beef broth and like I use leftover brisket sometimes shredded up into it. A little dollop of sour cream if you want, or not at all. Keep it all veg.
Love that.
Very versatile soup.
Amazing. Well, I'm just gonna be your Sue because you're the expert. So I'm just gonna be pretending that I'm.
I'll put you to work.
Okay.
Don't you worry.
Okay, good.
So very simple. I'm starting the way that most soup starts. A little bit of olive oil.
Which, by the way, this is the prettiest olive oil.
Isn't this nice? It was a gift to me from Curtis Stone, who is my co-host on a lot of Top Chef stuff, and I've known a good friend for years, an amazing chef. He's kind of taking LA by storm right now. But this is like he made this as part of like a line of kitchen products, and he gave it to me, and I have to say it's like one of the most. It's a perfect size. I buy like big vats of olive oil, keep them in the cupboard.
Yeah, just keep it.
Yeah,
I love that.
It looks pretty.
You also have really beautiful bowls, and like your salt is
yes,
like
so
cute.
A lot of little things.
I mean, ultimate like kitchen goals over here.
There you go. So thinly sliced onion. I have one whole thinly sliced onion that I'm just putting right in.
So normally, like when I make soups, I don't really care about the way I chop because I mostly
usually don't have to.
Well, normally I puree soups.
Right.
So this is a soup that is not pureed, so it kind of does matter.
Yes.
How like you cut
a little bit, and I have done actually a number of different textures with this soup, sort of because it's fun and it when you eat it, it'll eat a little differently.
Right.
So I'm thinly slicing my onions because I'm gonna saute them. I'm gonna add actually a little bit of salt, which helps bring out the sugar in the onions and caramelizes them really nicely. And I'm gonna let that cook out for a few minutes, and then start layering in all of these other flavors. But as you can see, my carrots are thinly sliced rounds, my garlic is thinly sliced, and then I have shredded my beets. So I took 2 big beets, scrubbed them, trimmed them, didn't peel them. Didn't peel anything, by the way, because the skins, as long as you wash them well, have a lot of nutrients, a lot of fiber.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
Keep the skins. Don't be so fussy about it, I say. It's certain things. Apples are a little tougher, so we're gonna peel the apple, but that's it.
Okay.
But I've shredded my beets.
And yeah, you kept the skin on your sweet potato as well.
Kept my skin, and sweet potatoes are just cubed. My cabbage is shredded. I also have celery root in here. You can slice it really thinly or shred it. I kind of actually have both in here because I used the wrong attachment at first on my food processor. And that's what happens when you're in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It's real life, people.
Yes, exactly, exactly. By the way, Gail's food processor is literally from like 20 years ago.
It's amazing.
And it's very well functioning.
It's this big, but it does me justice.
Yeah, you got it all done in like moments, literally.
So you can see, because I put that salt in, the onions cook down and get really soft really beautifully. And once they're soft, I'm gonna add my garlic. Again, just thinly sliced. It doesn't need to be finely chopped because everything in here is gonna be sort of rustic and easy. I'm gonna give that, you know, a minute or two to cook too. You don't want the garlic and onion to take on a ton of color. You know, you don't want to put the heat too high that you're going to burn them or caramelize them.
And so you're not looking for them to like brown or anything.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, if they get a little color, it's not a big deal.
You just want it to like be translucent.
Exactly. It's sort of a medium high heat.
Got it.
And it's starting to smell really good.
Yeah, this smells amazing. Okay, so tell us a little bit also about just like the inspiration behind the book and kind of like, you know, obviously you have like the borscht in here. You also have like a beautiful ladka recipe, like a pastrami cured salmon. You're giving me like, you know, the classic Jew vibe.
There's a lot. I had to actually edit my book so that it didn't tip my hand too much. Like that's a whole other book.
Okay, yeah.
My editor was a little bit like, you know, maybe we should just not make it all deli. It's not a deli, Jewish deli book. That's a totally different book. There's a couple of running themes in the book. Basically, the premise of the book is that, you know, I've been really lucky in my life and my job to do a ton of travel, both in my childhood. My parents were great travelers. My father's from South Africa. My mom's from Montreal, and they loved to travel around the world. I did a lot of travel in college, in high school and college. And then I loved it so much, and I loved food and cooking, and I made them my career. And over the last 20 years, with Top Chef, my work with food and wine, all the kind of different facets of my job, I've done a ton of travel from Indonesia and Japan to New Orleans and Charleston and everywhere in between. And so, all the while, I've been taking a lot of notes. And those notes sort of sat in my desk drawer for many, many years. Every dish I loved, a lesson that a great chef taught me, an amazing little shack on the road that I found. You know, dishes and flavor combinations that I wanted to recreate somehow. And finally, about 2 years ago, I took those notebooks out of my desk drawer, dusted them off, so to speak, and put them all together. And what I found was that there was over 100 recipes in there, some of which I've been making already in some various form for my family that I really wanted to share. And that's what Bringing It Home became, because it really is about taking all of these lessons I've learned out in the world when I was a professional line cook, when I went to culinary school, working with and for some of the great chefs that are alive today. I've been really lucky to have some amazing mentors and friends who sit beside me at the Top Chef judges table. And taking all those experiences and bringing them home to my own kitchen. It's all very much home cooking.
Love that.
2 tablespoons of tomato paste are gonna go in here. And I'm gonna just stir that in a little bit. And then I'm gonna add 3 herb spices.
So you mentioned the caraway.
There's some caraway in here. There's paprika. My hands are red from the beets, as you can see.
And then bay leaves.
And 2 bay leaves.
Okay.
And I'm gonna toss them in, and I'm gonna get that tomato paste to sort of, let me just use this. Sorry to reach over you. Get all of the paprika out. It got a little steamed up by the heat. I'm adding in my celery root, by the way, and all of my shredded beets. There's a lot in here. This is gonna be a very big soup. I hope you're hungry.
I am starved.
Wow. It was one of the biggest beets I've ever seen in my life.
Amazing.
So gonna put a pile here.
The color is so pretty.
Yeah, the color's amazing,
Alrighty.
right? And I'm gonna add my carrots. Do you wanna grab those and throw them in?
Love to.
This is starting to get hot, so I'm gonna hold this. I'm just gonna stir this around, sort of mix up everything together, and then I'm gonna put in my stock, which is over there in that black container. And you can pour that in for me if you want.
Okay, I'd love to.
And some water. Now there's a lot of beets in here.
Can we pour it now?
Yeah, go for it. This is just vegetable stock. But of course, if you want to use...
Also, this is really cute.
Isn't that cool? It has a lid, I know.
On the inside of this beautiful little pouring thing, it has the measurements, which is way chicer.
Sort of retro and cool. I got that on a shoot for something years ago. So add 2 cups of water and then go for it. And then grab me another 2 cups, fill that to 2 cups again, and that's
filtered water. So generally, like with soup, so we just added 2 more cups of water because you want
it to cover.
You want it to
exactly.
cover. Okay.
And if you're making a smaller quantity, or let's say in a bigger bowl, and it covers more quickly, you might not necessarily need 4 cups.
Okay.
But generally, with the quantities that I've given you in the recipe, that was the perfect amount, right?
Got it.
And we're gonna let this come to a simmer, and we're gonna cook it out, but not for that long. That's the great thing about the soup. There's so many soups that require like an hour of simmering, or 2 if you're using a bean or a legume.
Right.
But this, you don't need at all. So I'm gonna bring this to a boil, and we're gonna let it simmer for about 15 minutes.
Okay,
and then we'll come back to it and finish it off.
Amazing. Insane.
Those are really good.
But you're Canadian.
Yes, Bloody Caesar. You know what's funny? I was on my book tour, I was in Canada, and I made these eggs on a television show in Canada, and they kept calling them Bloody Caesar eggs. And I was like, that would have been amazing. I didn't even think of that idea. Bloody Caesars in Canada are Bloody Marys, but instead of using tomato juice, you use Clamato juice, which if you think about, kind of freaks people out a little bit.
You know what? It does
delicious.
freak people out when they hear about it because they can't get over, they don't understand what clam juice is, and they're like, ew, clam juice. Like, that seems
sort
so
of disgusting.
Crazy. But Clamato is actually incredible, and in fact, even at our wedding, we brought in Clamato.
Because your husband's Canadian.
My husband's Canadian, and so we really wanted on like the next day. We wanted like having like a Caesar bar.
Yeah.
So we brought in the Clamato to Morocco, which was
I can only imagine.
Difficult.
Not something you could find at the grocery store there.
It was difficult. Eggs and crispy potato skins seems like a revelation, by the way. Like, why?
It's one of my greatest triumphs, I'm not gonna
I
lie.
don't understand why we're not doing that. Like, the yolk here looks...
I know, and we eat potatoes with eggs all the time.
All the time.
So why not make a potato skin and then bake the egg right inside, and then it's a perfect vessel for your egg. This I discovered at a diner in Massachusetts, in this tiny fishing village north of Boston, where I go every summer with my husband's family. That's how they serve the eggs. They actually usually put scrambled eggs in the potato skins.
Oh, wow.
And I thought it was so brilliant.
That is brilliant. Where in
stole it.
Massachusetts?
Gloucester. Do you know Gloucester, Massachusetts?
No.
Do you remember the movie / book, The Perfect Storm?
Yes.
George Clooney?
Yes. Okay,
Most attractive fisherman you'll ever see in your life?
Yeah, exactly.
He starred in it, and that's where it took place.
Okay.
It's a true story, actually. It's the oldest fishing port in America.
Oh, wow.
And we go there every summer. My husband's family has a house right on the beach, and 25 family members are there.
Exactly.
People take it very seriously.
What's your favorite flavor of bagel?
I mean, I kind of think, I don't really believe in the like blueberry rainbow bagel. It's not really a thing.
I know.
I like a solid sesame bagel.
Oh, really?
I like a whole wheat bagel.
Okay.
A little nuttiness, a little more fiber.
So I'm a real big egg bagel.
Oh yeah, okay.
I love an egg.
I get that. That's interesting.
I love an egg bagel. And I love a poppy seed.
Yeah, poppy seed's a classic.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'll take an everything bagel.
I mean, duh.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't
Which
want
is why I
everything?
did the everything cream cheese. Because
Right.
then you can have it on all your bagels and also have your other kind of bagel.
Right, exactly. There is a place near where I grew up on the Upper West Side called Absolute Bagels, and I really thought that their bagels were like top notch. And I still think they're like, they give any bagel a run for their money. But that egg bagel is one of the best egg bagels
Absolute
I've ever.
bagels.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Pass the wooden spoon again.
Okay. Oop, I got.
Oh, don't worry about it, please. There's a million of books in this house.
Okay.
And that's what happens when you use your cookbook.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't bother me at all. And the glossy pages help to make sure it all comes up.
This is so cute.
You know what's funny? We took that picture of me eating a watermelon, and I don't really know why we took it. We didn't necessarily take it I wasn't thinking about
You've
the watermelon
literally said
recipe.
that in every photo. You're
Yeah,
like,
it's
I don't know
like
why I
that's what I'm
took this
saying.
photo.
It's like they become sort of random when you're just taking pictures of you
Right,
and food.
right.
And it was the middle of the summer, or it was actually the end of the summer, and we took the picture with the watermelon. That's in my backyard.
Okay.
And then I realized only after that I had the perfect recipe already in the book.
Oh, perfect.
To go with it.
Great. Cute.
Okay, so the soup is all simmered down. You can see the vegetables are all soft.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. It smells
It
incredible.
does. I'm gonna add the last ingredients, which is 1 sweet potato that I've diced up into a very small dice.
Okay. And
And-
it's interesting to me that you're adding the sweet potato last, because I feel like when people think about cooking sweet potatoes, they feel like they need to cook for so long.
Yes, true. But I've diced it so small that it'll cook in like 5 to 7
right.
minutes.
That's
So
the
it should be
key.
fine because we're just gonna make sure that that
And
it's all real hot. And then half a cabbage, a red cabbage, shredded. And this also cooks down really quickly, but we have a really full pot right now, so I'm gonna add it in and, ooh, splattering pink all over my kitchen. Now I will stir it all in if I can, because we're getting very full here.
Very
Should have
full.
used a slightly bigger pot, but it's gonna be fine.
this pot's so pretty.
It is really pretty and useful for soup.
Yeah.
It's a
These make
serious
also
soup
really
making.
nice presents for like housewarming. We actually got one of these for our wedding.
Yeah, for sure. This is like the quintessential wedding pot, I feel
Yeah.
like, because it's an all-purpose pot.
Exactly.
You can do everything in it. So this is a pretty vigorous simmer,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna cook it down, but it really won't take that much longer. It should be like 7 more minutes of simmering.
Okay. And when
then
do we
we're
put the
done.
apple in?
Apple goes in right now.
Okay,
Bring
should
it
I
all
put it in?
Yeah. And I love adding the apple because I feel like it also adds a bit of a tartness. I'm using a Granny Smith apple that you were peeling before. Adds some tartness and also sweetness. Doesn't matter, not at all.
This looks so. Okay, so when do we also add the apple cider vinegar?
We're gonna add that after this is cooked down, just
Okay.
a little bit, because if you add it in now, it'll lose some of that brightness.
Got it.
So I'm kind of just gonna add it
Also,
in the end.
I've been obsessing over how cute this. What is it? OXO.
Yeah.
OXO 4 tablespoon measure. Gail says she uses it all the time
All
for
the time.
everything. So I am Amazon priming it as we speak.
It's
and
perfect.
I'm very excited about
It's
it.
like one of my favorite little tools in the kitchen,
also,
because you
like, so
often
cute.
always you need a 1/4 cup of things so much.
Yeah.
Whether it's olive oil or water or spices or liquid of any kind, and doing the 4 tablespoons or putting it into a
yeah.
cup and it's at the very bottom. This is like exactly what you need.
No, this is amazing. Love it. It's so good.
I haven't made it in a while, like since last winter
It's great.
when we were making the book.